How y'all doing? You know, I've noticed from, and I hate this like right up in your face viewpoint on Facebook, but what I've noticed is that if I sit further back away from the camera, the noise canceling doesn't work as well. And I really think that I'm going to have to find a better microphone to do live recordings because there's been a lot of static. So if I'm all up in your face like this, it's because I would like for the sound on your video to be a little bit better. And as usual, I'm multitasking, but I was looking pretty bust down, so I figured I'd go on, put a little makeup, a little jewelry on for this video. Because I'm really hoping that what I talk to you guys about tonight will last in internet history, that will be shared with anybody who's interested in practicing magic. Okay, you probably hear that I have something going on in the back. I'm making my daughter some cauliflower wings. Tried them in the air fryer. They did not crisp up. My chicken works fine in the air fryer, but these cauliflower wings don't. So yeah, she can spare it. She's got a nice figure. She can have a little fried food. So that's what I'm going to be doing while I'm talking to you all. So there's a couple things that's happened today. But in the last 24 hours that I have experienced dealing with not just my job, but the store too, because I design courses for a living. And I experience this all the way around. But I especially am experiencing this type of thing in magic. And I really don't think that there should be an excuse for this. So let's start talking about like the different things that you can do and get from a magical professional. Because I swear on Black Baby Devontae Jesus that I'm not out here trying to take y'all's money. In fact, it really kind of disturbs me sometimes when I go and I look at your orders and I'll be like, I know what the fuck you're doing. Sometimes I look at your orders and think, okay, yeah, they doing it, but they ain't doing it right. Or I'm wondering, do you know what you're doing at all? So I figured, okay, how can I make this better? How can I get people to really get in touch with their magic and not have them waste money? Okay, because I was blessed. I had magical mentors right in person. They would go shopping with me. They would tell me what I needed, what I didn't need. They wouldn't take my shit when I tried to justify some bullshit ass purchase or some bullshit ass spell work, you know, when it was clear that maybe spell work wasn't needed. Maybe I just need to get up off my ass and do something. So I know that not everybody has those types of people in their life. I get that. So that's why I set up magical mentoring sessions. That's why I teach classes. That's why I am not the only instructor teaching classes. Do you realize that because of the time that I have to spend talking to people, that there are classes that I need to get listed that are new or coming back that haven't even made it to the website? And it don't matter, because even when I do list them, folks don't take them. The very people that need this stuff the most don't take them. So in the story of my life, in the history of my day, let me give you a typical day. If, you know, like if say the store was open and I'm cooking, y'all, and I am not, we're not in a pandemic. People have very unrealistic expectations of magical stores, and that will get you fucked up. Not knowing what you're doing, not knowing what you want, will get you into a magical store and get you hustled. Because either that person is just going to sell you whatever, or that person is going to be like, well, I can do some work for you. I don't do spiritual workings outside of lamps and outside of lights. I don't do any workings for people. You want to know why? 2 reasons. People don't cooperate. And I'm going to give you an example of how people don't cooperate, and they will fuck up whatever you're trying to do for them. Secondly, I don't do magical workings without a divination. most people do not want to pay for a divination. Most people want what they want. They're going to practice their magic no matter what you tell them to do. And they're going to go on about their business. And when the shit doesn't work, either they're going to write a review about me. Oh, her shit don't work. Because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or they didn't know what they were doing. Okay? Or they're going to be like, magic just doesn't work. And it's funny because when folks was in the church, they sure believed that Jesus was on the main line. No matter how many times they asked for some shit and Jesus said no, or you thought whoever that person was that is Jesus told you no, but you kept going to church and you kept putting that money in that plate. But what you forgot to do was have the personal accountability to let Jesus work it out. And that's what you need to do first. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I'm always mind blown. I love to tell my customers about how something works. You know, like, ooh, they come in for a smudge stick. Y'all and these motherfucking smudge sticks. No, your mama ain't never burned no motherfucking smudge stick. Your mama burned. And I see some of y'all tell me to preach, but I'm finna talk about a couple of y'all. And you're going to recognize yourself when I talk about you. Now, your mama ain't never burned no smudge sticks, but your mother burned incense. You be better off with that essential fragrance oil, fucked up incense, you know, that's $2 or something a box. I love it. I sell it. But let me tell you something. When it gets down to the brass tacks and I got to do some real fucking work, do you think I'm fumigating my house with some hemp incense? Are you fucking crazy? I'm going to get the dragon's blood. I'm going to get the frankincense. I'm going to get the myrrh. I'm going to get the copal, depending on what I'm benzoing. And I'm lighting that shit on charcoal. Why? Because I was taught by real witches. I was taught by real workers. I wasn't taught by the school of instant gratification. So, you know, the incense, the stick incense, I love it, y'all. Smells good, can put you in a type of mood, might actually have some useful shit in it. I don't know. I ain't make it. But I can tell you if you buy a handmade incense from me, what the fuck's going in it and what it's supposed to do. So that's the first point. But I want to know, I need any of y'all to answer this for me. When is the last time, and maybe y'all do this, but I want to know where they do this at. When is the last time you went into the grocery store, you walked your black ass up to a meat counter, and you picked out a steak? And then you looked at the person who took the meat, wrapped it up for you, and said, I don't know how to cook steak. Can you tell me how to cook it? I'm sure some of you have done that. And that's a goddamn shame. And I'm sure that the person was probably like, who are your parents? Who fucking raised you? Because you done brought your ass up into the store and you bought something that you don't even know how to use. Can y'all help me with that? So then help me with this, because I'm trying to understand what you think the industry is. It's just like you go into the bike store and you buy a bicycle. It's a better example. You a grown ass motherfucker. You just bought a bike, right? Does the man at the bike store teach you how to ride? Help me. Help me here. When you go to Target and you buy some lipstick, when you leave the line and before you walk out of the store, do you take it out of the package and turn back around and ask the cashier, how do I put this on? Y'all are fucking killing me. You're really killing me. So, I realized, wow, people really don't know how to do this. And yes, there was a time in my life that I didn't know how to do it either. And I said, well, how did you get from there to here? What happened? You were taught. So I started teaching classes, right? And so then we have one or two of these types of practitioners. They come to me and they're asking me about all this stuff and everything, and they're trying to buy stuff and they're trying to figure out what they want. And I'll be like, did you take the classes? I have classes for that. One woman came into my store. I let her in my store. Occasionally when people come up, even though we're really close to the public, I let them in. And this woman comes in and asks me what the fuck Florida water was for. Now, this was one of our regular customers. And I said, you know what? A year ago, you came into my store. You bought Florida water. You asked what it was for. And obviously you've used it all up because you're buying it again. So why are you asking me yet again how to use something I told you how to use a year ago? And so I've had a couple of students who are differently able. And I get that. And I understand that. Okay? There are some, I had one, and I felt really bad because I had one student that has memory issues. We do not do books. I haven't written a book. But guess what? Ooh, it don't make no fucking difference. Because if I wrote a book, you wouldn't read it. Because that's the second thing. Magical mentoring sessions. I figure, okay, they don't know, anything about magic. They got questions. People will literally, and a couple of y'all, it's a mother-daughter team on here, and you know what happened. You come to me for a divination, and you ain't got no questions. I'm like, wait a minute. Ain't there something that you wanted to know? But even then, there's general divinations that can be given. But how you gonna spend $75 for a magical mentoring session, and you ain't got no questions? And so the questions that I ask every single fucking time is, first of all, when's the last time you read a magical book from cover to cover? And I'm not talking about a reference book, okay? When was the last time you really just sat down? Now, I'm guilty. I'll be in between 3 or 4 books at a time. If you come into my bedroom, you will see that I have Jeff's book. I've got Working the Root in there. I got a book on chakras. And there's one other book I'm reading. So I will have 3 or 4 books in rotation. So it will take me a very long time to finish a book. But y'all want books, but you don't read. Then the second question, the most important question that really should be asked when's the last time they read a book is, when's the last time you did spiritual working? Which brings me to, so last night was the person with no questions. And trust me, I don't care if you've paid for it or not. Especially in magic, I'm gonna drag you. I am going to drag you for fucking filth if you come to me on that old bullshit. So here we go. Just recently, I had a customer who took every single one of my hoodoo classes last year, a year ago when the pandemic started. I got this person's order, and the person wanted to know if they could come to the store and pick it up. And I was just like, yeah, let me see what you ordered. She sent me a screenshot of her order. She ordered 1 votive candle. Now, I found that to be kind of interesting because she paid as much for the shipping as she did for the votive candle. Let's hold that right there. Let's put a bookmark right there. Y'all, I had a customer yesterday. They handed me the box. Pookie and Trini, they be packing up the orders and stuff, and I just be making shit and doing the shipping and all the other owner type shit. But they pack up the orders for me and, get stuff, together. And I smelled that box, and that box smelled like ass. And I looked in there and I saw, of course, the asafoetida sitting right on top, despite the fact that on my website, I tell you, order this product by itself. So guess what, customer whose order shipped last night who bought asafoetida? Your whole order smells like ass. Because I can put it in 3, 4, 5, 6 baggies and that smell will permeate. You don't read. But back to where we left the bookmark. So I just had a customer order one votive candle. And it was a love yourself votive candle, and that person wanted to do some work. And I'm like, what the fuck do you think you're going to do with that? With the one votive candle? And through our conversation, I found that, number one, this person took all of my classes a year ago and really hasn't done any of the things that I advise in class. Cleanse, protect, reverse, CPR. I talk about it all the time. I talk about just making really what we consider to be mundane things like washing your ass a spiritual experience. This doesn't have to be brain surgery, because trust me, if you can't get down the fundamentals, but you gonna light a candle for yourself? You gonna put a candle in a jar or on a jar? You gonna jar yourself? I keep telling y'all this shit. And everybody sleep at the wheel. Spiritual work on yourself is spiritual work on yourself. Mind, body, soul. So that means, and that's why I bought myself a really cool motorized scrubbing wand. So I didn't have to bend my old ass down in that bathtub every time I want to take a spiritual bath. Do y'all know how many nights I have not taken a spiritual bath because I didn't feel like cleaning that motherfucking tub because I was tired? So I found a very muggle, mundane, but it's really a magical way to clean my tub. So that could not be an excuse for me not sitting my ass in those herbs and those roots. I spend the time to think about what kind of roots can I ingest? What can I season my food with? Oh, that reminds me, I fried this baby's wings and I don't want them to get cold. Trinity! Excuse me, y'all. Your wings is ready! Your cauliflower wings. She's a vegetarian. So I made jerk. Now mine, I got to still put into the air fryer but I'm not hungry because folks take my fucking appetite. And I used to understand, I used to think, and that's the thing about spell work, you guys, like the bike riding analogy that I gave to you. If you learn how to ride a Schwinn, you can ride a Huffy, but you may not be able to ride a unicycle. You may not be able to ride a motorcycle yet, but because you have given yourself the principles of riding a bicycle, those principles are your springboard for other things. So, you got a lot of people out here that really want to jump off into spell work and they have no fucking idea why they're even doing what they're doing. People can't answer basic questions for me in class like, why do we light candles in magic? Motherfuckers be talking about focus and intentions and all this other stuff, and no, I'm not going to give you the answer because you get the answer in class. But that is not why you light a fucking candle in magic. People think that the candles are the entire ritual rather than simply part of it. Why? Because it's quick. Because it's easy. But tell somebody they got to take a 21-day cleansing coffee, black walnut, hyssop brew, a spiritual bath. That for every day, for 21 fucking days, you got to get your ass in that tub. You got to meditate. You got to breathe. You got to burn that fucking candle. I would even put the remnants of the bath on my ancestral altar, then get my black ass up at dawn. So don't nobody be in your fucking business and get rid of the portion of the bath that I saved. This is not root play. This is not root work. And I guess the fact that we call this shit magic has got all y'all really fucking confused and fucked up because you're thinking about Walt Disney. You're thinking about Bewitched. You're thinking about Bippity Boppity fucking Boo. What good is it? Is it taste good, baby? It's a little brown because the jerk was brown. They're not burnt, are they? And a little overcooked? That's because I'm bitching. But it's tasting out. It's pretty tasty. You like it? Okay. I almost burnt the cauliflower wings talking to y'all. But I'm tired of this. And trust me, I experienced this in my mundane life too. I'm a real detailed-oriented individual, and when I set out with people to do particular tasks, I say, guess what? Yo, I got my squares right here. Do we have any wine? Goddamn, we might have to go to the drive-thru. I love Ohio. Oh, but it's fucking snowing. We got other shit. That's all right. We got the hard stuff, and I got some gin. But You all are killing my soul. My 18-year-old daughter, granted, yes, she grew up as a witch, knows more, but y'all can read this stuff. Y'all can fucking read. So you spent $175 last year, $200 this year on classes, and you don't know a divination method. So that if you, because see me, when I got to go and do some spell work, unless it's something where I know a divination has to be done, and there are certain rules in my magical practice where I know I need to divine on it before I do it first, usually before I want to fuck somebody up. I'm always going to take myself out of it and divine on it. But if my spirit gets up and tells me in the morning, go take a cleansing bath, go do a reversal bath, and put your protections up a little bit higher, okay? That mac and cheese just needs to be heated over there. And I didn't put no butter or nothing on there. I just cooked it and was letting it settle. Okay, yay, thank you. And y'all caught me in the middle of dinner, well, making her dinner, but so, but in these classes, and these classes start on Friday, okay, again, I tell you how to do this. I tell you the reasons why. I tell you how I've learned. I tell you that also it is my method. Jezebel, get out of her food. Get out of her food. Jezebel's and Marky's food. But I tell you all how to do this shit. I tell you, and that's baby steps. Because some of the magic that I have been exposed to, some of the rituals that I have learned, some of the ceremonial magic that I have not yet approached, y'all ain't got no clue. We are scratching the surface here. And why are we scratching the surface in hoodoo? Because often hoodoo spells ain't pretty. They often require you to do some shit that you may not want to do being a privileged American. And trust me, hoodoo, people want to shit on hoodoo, especially people who are in ATRs that maybe grew up in them or never had any exposure to hoodoo and just had exposure to another ATR, because hoodoo is an ATR. I'm sorry. There are so many things in hoodoo that are in alignment with what we do in initiated ATRs. And so that could really help guide you as to whether or not, when you're dealing in an ATR, whether or not this resonates with you, this is ancestral, and if it's legitimate. Because if you become intimately involved in the history of our magic, you can see that our workers were not for play on this continent either. For some reason, we get it in our minds that hoodoo is not as powerful as Haitian voodoo or as Lukumi or Ifa. Well, I guess it depends on how you're practicing it. Because the last time I checked, hoodoo can make a very huge impact on your life. So, given that, it would be to your advantage for you to pay attention in class. It would be to your advantage for you to take the classes in the first place. And it ain't got to be me. I've got other instructors right on my website, and there's a plethora of people that will teach you all kinds of things. And yes, you should read and you should study, because somehow this idea that being scholarly is white, that's just lost on me. I don't get that shit at all. When we created books, we created writing, Sanskrit, anyone, Aramaic, anybody, or any of these ancient fucking languages. We created universities, but somehow studying things from books where our scholars. And then when you do choose to read, you ain't reading nothing that we've ever written. How sway, Batman? I asked my student last night, the person I gave a mentoring session to. These was all white authors she gave me for these hoodoo books. And I was like, you know what? I know there's not a plethora of hoodoo books out. And I really don't know if I'm ever going to write one, because guess what? Talking to y'all all the goddamn time, I don't have any time to do so. But the information is there. There's so many different studies. I even give a 24-page article to be read that has a plethora of resources in the back of that article for Hoodoo 103. And do you know How many students actually read that fucking article, Trina? Do you think? Until I started cussing people out. It's your money. How in the fuck you gonna pay $200 for a series of classes and not read a very important piece of information when you can't even talk to it? This article, it is called Nickels in the Nation Sack. Somebody dropped that shit on me one day because y'all don't know. This practice is about learning. I don't call myself a hoodoo master. I think that would just be really disingenuous of me. Because what you learn, exactly, Toy, preach. It is our magic. It is our medical. It is our mundane. And in my classes, I teach that I wouldn't be talking to none of your black asses right now if it hadn't been for hoodoo. So take it seriously. Take it very fucking seriously. But please don't think that you're going to come to me and tell me that you think that this one little fucking votive candle is going to be the end of all of life's problems. That would be alcohol, the cause of and the solution to all life's problems. I'm joking. Okay? Stephanie Rose Bird, I can't stand that book. I couldn't, the first time I read it, I said I was going to give myself another look at that book. And it was simply because of the mash-up of traditions and things that just didn't sit well with my spirit. Okay? But, Toya also wrote, it was the magic, tradition, and power and strength of our ancestors. It wasn't for the tradition of keeping them, we wouldn't be here today. We owe honor to our ancestors, and we owe honor to their practice. You damn right. And so I'm trying to teach you, I'll do lemon. Yeah, lemon. I'm trying to teach y'all how to do that. And guess what? Every single, somebody said, don't leave her book alone. And like I said, I liked her as a person from the brief time I was her Facebook friend, but I think she deleted me because I think she heard that I didn't have a nice critique of her work. You guys got to understand, books are written by men. Just like the Bible is a plagiarism of a plagiarism of a plagiarism and has some really good fucking points in it. And I still look at the Bible for different things and different reasons. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I ain't throwing out black baby Jesus. I just threw out the bathwater. I threw out Paul's bullshit. I threw out a lot of bullshit. There's something good in every holy and sacred text. But there's a couple of things about hoodoo that y'all need to know. It's regional. Different people use different herbs and roots for different things according to where they live. It's ancestral. And so my magical mentors, yes, we're on Mojo Working. I'm reading Working the Roots right now. I'm halfway through Mojo Working. And in the customer group, I'm going to get that book club started again. But even then, y'all made my ass hurt. I know I like to talk. But I'm the only person in the fucking book club talking. I'm like, come on, y'all didn't read, y'all didn't take notes. Don't join a fucking book club if you ain't gonna contribute. Don't do this if you are not going to contribute. So I looked at this half-assery of general customers and too many of my students for me to be comfortable. And so I've got some new lines in the sand that I'm going to draw. Because if you look at my Google reviews, every time the white person comes in my store and start talking about practicing hoodoo, they get pissed off because I tell them that they ain't. I don't even ask them what they practice anymore. If somebody comes to the store or somebody calls the store, I ask them, what would you like? And I say whether I have it or not. Because what I am a purveyor of fine magical goods. I am not everybody's fucking teacher, nor do I want to be. But if y'all are black, and I take time with y'all, because I understand that for us, it's a little different. It hits a little different. We've been told that our stuff is evil, that is this, that is that, with a lot of confusion. So I try to lead you in the right direction. But if you take all the classes, and then you don't commence to doing spiritual work, how you ever gonna be a spiritualist? How you gonna practice hoodoo if you don't practice hoodoo. Every single spell that you do is going to be different. You might be doing spells for different reasons. There might be different circumstances. There are all different types of mitigating factors that may alter your spell. But then you got people talking about, oh, I've been doing candle work and I've been doing this and I've been doing that. But they don't know what the doctrine of signatures is. They don't even know how to explain how they came to getting the stuff. So you might not have, oh, that's Ruby Woo Boo Boo. Thank you. Toya, I know you on that makeup tip. That's a Ruby Woo. I had to go put on some lipstick, y'all, because I wasn't looking cute. I had changed my shirt. I wasn't looking cute. Tried to look a little decent for y'all, because I had a word for you tonight. If you want to practice magic, it can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. So, for example, you want to get closer to your ancestors. All you got to do is have a nice little table, a white candle, and a glass of water. Sit there, put some crystals on it that, like Argonite for ancestor veneration, or clear quartz for clarity of thought. And you sit there and you talk to them. That way you learn, oh, what type of offerings they may want. They'll start telling you, you'll be out in the grocery store and they'll be like, you need to get some of that. And you know that's not you. And you're like, what the hell is this talking to me? And you get it. And you like, well, if it wasn't for me, it got to be for them. And you put it on the altar. Or you give them a piece of your meal every morning. You talk to them. You get that relationship with them just like you build a relationship with everybody else. But there's the fucking problem. Because even in our human relationships, we don't talk to each other. In fact, somebody was talking about that the other day, because I'm always being accused of being too direct, too confrontational, and all this other fucking bullshit. But the reality is, the oppressive culture, white culture, has made avoidance and avoiding conflict a fucking art form. No, we just not going to talk about this, because if we don't talk about racism, it's going to go away, right? You cannot solve conflict by avoiding it. That's why they call it conflict resolution. They do not call it conflict ignoring. Okay? Exactly. People don't know how to have relationships with the very people that are there in front of them. I get so fucking sick. My stepdaughter, passive aggressive. Mark was passive aggressive. And my whole fucking thing is, if you got a problem with me, say it with your chest, nigga. Tell me what the fuck the problem is. If I'm wrong, I can see if I'm wrong. But usually that's not the case, because when people are passive aggressive, they are on some fuck shit. They want to get back at you for some shit that you did to them because of some shit they did to you. Ain't that about a bitch? So I'm going to tell you that the only way that you're going to effectively practice your magic is to be clear on your fucking intentions. You cannot be passive aggressive and be clear on your intentions at the same fucking time. It doesn't work like that. But what I decided is that this is the last night that I am going to devote energy to this bullshit. Because what I notice is the people who make the most money, they help you the least. They speak the least. And people just, you can't call these other fucking magic shops with this bullshit. Don't tell me that you can. Otherwise, if they do take the time to talk to you, you're gonna get hustled. You're gonna buy some shit you don't need, and you ain't gonna learn a goddamn thing. And then, whose problem is it going to be? I asked somebody, they were like, I was like, so you took the class a year ago, and you just now starting to do work? Well, I started, and then I fell off, and I wasn't consistent. And I said, what part of consistency is a requirement for spirituality did you not understand? I'll wait. People don't like that. And the person wasn't even, I know she was like, damn, all I did was ask this bitch, could I come and pick up my order tomorrow? I'm sure she wasn't expecting that Facebook call. I'm sure she wasn't expecting that video message. I'm sure she wasn't expecting me spending an hour with her trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Because I swear to God, if you told me that you took all my fucking classes and you still walking around here like boo-boo the goddamn fool, am I doing something wrong? Did I take your money and tell you a motherfucking lie? No, I didn't. You didn't pay fucking attention. You're not serious. Why do I have to be serious if you're not serious? What is that going to do for me? You know, it's kind of funny because I found that more and more, the less I got on lives, the less I spoke out about shit and kept my page to puppies, kittens, and houses, y'all been buying all kinds of shit. You don't need my education. So what I ain't gonna do no more, because it's a waste of fucking time. Because I know, because there's just as many, and I'm gonna be real honest. There's many more of you that get it. I've seen some of y'all, I've seen you take classes from me, other people, get initiated, study the craft, and I've seen you flourish. And I've seen you fly. And so what I need to remember in keeping these boundaries and keeping this context of what I can do for you and what I ain't gonna fucking do for you is that there's gonna be people that fly and there's gonna be people that fall. But the people that fall really irritate me because you done spent all this fucking money. I had a client, two things. I had a client whose package came back to me, $200 order. That client is unhoused at this moment. That client, despite the fact that there is a no refund policy, asked me if I could give her a refund for the package. And I would have initially, because that's this type of person I am. I can sell this stuff to other people. But when she asked for the refund, prior to that, I had received another email from her asking me to co-sign on her student loan. I've never met this person in person. I am not this person's friend nor relative. And they even told me that they would give me a portion of the loan money as showing as a commitment that they were going to pay it back. I'm really hoping not to even co-sign on my kids' student loans. I don't know you, and I really think that what you just suggested to me is illegal. So, no, I can't co-sign for your student loan. I really wish that I was bawling like some of these magical practitioners out here. I really do. We're doing okay. We're surviving. We make decent money, but we ain't rich by any stretch of the imagination. The fuck? You want me to co-sign for your student? I don't even know you. So then, of course, when she back around with this $200 order, I said, no, what I will do for you is if you give me an address where you are housed right now, I will send it to you free of charge. That's what I will do for you. It's not my fault you weren't at the address where you ordered the shit. And I really have to, as a diviner and everybody's auntie and fucking mama and mambo, I really have to come out of the mindset that I'm supposed to be doing something to take care of y'all when you won't take care of yourselves first. And anybody that knows me knows that anybody that is actually out here not full of excuses, really doing the work and trying to do the damn thing, I will help you. I ain't gonna co-sign for your student loan, but I will help you. And I know there's several people that are on this live right now that I have. So I sleep well at night. But what I need you all to understand is that this is spirituality. And as much as you believed in your former spirituality, whether it worked for you or not, this is just as important. And if you're going to spend your money, I hope you spend it wisely. I hope you take the time to educate yourself. I hope you take the time to study your craft. Yes, not everybody can afford classes. For an entire year, I've had Hoodoo 101 in my customer group, a recording, something I never do for free. How many people have watched it? I put it in there, and it will stay in there until the end of the pandemic. But now I've talked to you for about an hour. That's an hour I could have been reading one of my books. That's an hour I could have been at one of my altars. That's an hour I could have been pouring my candles, doing my work, or doing the work in the business that pays me. Your lack of discipline, your utter and complete ignorance, when there is a whole motherfucking God-given internet full of good things and bullshit for you to consume, is not my problem. And I'm going to, and if you ever send me a message and you don't get an answer from me, it ain't because I didn't see it. It's because I don't have an answer for you. Have a good evening.